Hello YouTube, I'm Michael Morgan, this is Retro Reviews, and we are continuing our video series of the 80s movie countdown with the number 3 year on our list, 1985. Before I get into the review, as always, make sure that you subscribe to the channel, hit that like button on this video, and share this video. Also, if you watched the last video, just want to give you a quick reminder how I compiled this particular countdown. Is I just simply went to multiple sites, I looked at every movie that was released in American cinemas during the 80s, and I just compiled a list for my favorite movies that came out during that time. And just a brief warning, there will be spoilers ahead. Okay, we're going to kick off our 1985 list with the movie Witness, which to date, unfortunately, is the only Academy Award nomination that Harrison Ford has received. I mean, this is just a great movie, just a great drama. It's a police drama. It's a class of cultures. And it deals with a young Amish boy who's witnessed a murder, and Harrison Ford is a detective who has to protect this child, and it involves, there's dirty cops involved. Just great performances all around. You have Harrison Ford, you have Kelly McGillis, a pre-Top Gun Kelly McGillis. You have Danny Glover, and you also have a young Lucas Haas who portrays the Amish boy who needs to be protected. And also, if you're a member of Gen X like me, this next one's one of your favorites, The Breakfast Club from John Hughes. It's about five high school students, all from different worlds, all different stereotypes. They all get Saturday detention together. It's just a great movie. Of course, you have Molly Ringwald, Anthony Michael Hall, Ali Sheedy, Judd Nelson, and of course, Emilio Estevez. It's a great movie about how people from different backgrounds, they can come together, they can find common ground. Just a great movie, great soundtrack. Okay, the next movie on the list is Brewster's Millions with Richard Pryor and John Candy. Just a great comedy from Richard Pryor. Yeah, it's one of my favorite comedies of the 80s. Yeah. Also, you have Rambo: First Blood Part 2. Now, as I mentioned in the 1982 video where I mentioned the First Blood, this when you get to First Blood Part 2, this is the Rambo, that everybody knows. I mean, this is the over the top action, just blowing things up. I mean, this is, taking on entire armies by himself. This is, when you say Rambo, this is the movie. If you watch First Blood and then you watch Rambo Part 2, I mean, it does seem like two completely different movies, two completely different characters. But, of course, this was the 1980s action. Action was over the top. Okay, in another fantastic comedy from 1985 is Fletch with Chevy Chase, where he plays an investigative journalist who goes undercover, has various disguises. I mean, this is peak Chevy Chase. This movie, you got the Goonies. I mean, this is the ultimate kids adventure movie. You have a group of kids who are out to look for a pirate's treasure. They encounter gangsters, and of course, this was produced by Steven Spielberg, directed by Richard Donner, who directed Superman 1 in 1978. He directed the Lethal Weapon movies. But this is just that ultimate kids adventure movie. You have and of course, the top movie of 1985, the top, of course, not only the top grossing movie, probably the best movie that came out that year. You have Back to the Future, which is a classic. It's one of my all-time favorite movies. You have Michael J. Fox, Christopher Lloyd, Leah Thompson, Crispin Glover, Thomas F. Wilson. If you haven't seen Back to the Future, where have you been? You need to watch it. It's one of my all-time favorites. Okay, and also we're going back to another Chevy Chase movie that came out in 1985, National Lampoon's European Vacation. The Griswolds win a trip to Europe, and hilarity and hijinks ensues. And we have another John Hughes movie that came out in 1985, Weird Science. This is about two nerds who use a computer. They create a woman, and I mean this is just a very funny movie. You have appearance from a young Robert Downey Jr. in this as well, and of course Robert Downey Jr. recently won an Academy Award. He's Iron Man in the MCU. And also, this is kind of a silly movie, but this was one of my favorites as a kid. Pee-wee's Big Adventure that came out in 1985. This was one of the movies that established Tim Burton as well, who went on to a successful career. He directed the first two Batman movies. He directed Beetlejuice. Edward Scissorhands. Just a great creative. That's a great creative team with him and between Tim Burton and the late Paul Reubens. Next one is another John Candy movie. This is one of John Candy's first starring roles. You have Summer Rental, where he's a stressed out dad. He tries to take his family down to Florida for vacation. I believe he's an air traffic controller. He learns to sail. He comes across one of the rich local guys who serves as an antagonist for him. Another movie from 1985 is Teen Wolf with Michael J. Fox. This was the twin bill from Michael J. Fox 1985, and the success of Back to the Future, it just really it probably overshadowed the Teen Wolf. So in a lot of ways, Teen Wolf is probably a hidden gem. If you haven't watched it, it's about a high school student. He transforms into a werewolf. It's a comedy. It's not a horror movie in any way. It's played up for laughs. Okay, you have another over the top 80s action movie. This time from Arnold Schwarzenegger with Commando. It's where he has to go and rescue his daughter, who's played by young Alyssa Milano, who's been kidnapped. Great. It's typical 80s Arnold Schwarzenegger, over-the-top action, one-liners. And the next movie from this list is the movie Silver Bullet, which is based on the Stephen King story. It stars Gary Busey and Corey Haim. And this is a werewolf movie, but it is from, this is more on the horror side of werewolves, like what you'd expect. You have Rocky IV, which this is just one of the best of Rocky movies. Yes, of course, where Rocky fights Ivan Drago. This was peak Cold War during the 80s between Ronald Reagan, and the Soviets. So there's a lot of Cold War politics involved in this movie as well. It's once again, it's Rocky overcoming the odds. Of course, you have the death of Apollo Creed in this movie. So you just have this catalyst. It's also one of those movies where it's like a montage after montage throughout this movie. But this is still an enjoyable Rocky movie. Also, we have another Chevy Chase movie, this time with Dan Aykroyd, Spies Like Us. That's a very funny movie directed by John Landis, who directed a lot of other great movies during the 80s. And also the next movie on this list is a very at the time it was a box office disappointment. but it's really a hidden gem. You have the movie Clue with Tim Curry, Martin Mull, Leslie Ann Warren, Madeline Kahn, Michael McKean. I mean, of course, this is a movie based off the board game, a Clue. It too, and I remember watching this as a kid when it was on cable, and there was like a multiple. Oh, this is how it could have happened, or this is how it could have happened, and I didn't realize till years later that when Clue came out in theaters, that they actually had alternate endings filmed, and so whichever theater that you went to, you could have had a different ending if you saw it in another theater. But this is just a great comedy, great supporting cast, and also I'm going to close out the list of 1985 with two great dramas. You have The Color Purple, which was directed by Steven Spielberg, and Whoopi Goldberg, Danny Glover. He makes another appearance on this list. Just a great drama. Throughout, it's based on the book by Alice Walker, and also, another great movie from 1985 to close out this list is Out of Africa, which stars Robert Redford and Meryl Streep. It's just a fantastic movie. You get a chance to sit down and watch it. Okay, so that concludes number 3, the year 1985. Stay tuned for our number 2 video. Thank you for watching.